mode.
Hello and welcome to today's webinar. I'm Nick Zulovich of Cherokee Media Group. In today's webinar, Get Ready to Catch and Keep Your Customers, we're going to learn more about this topic from Sean Stapleton from VinSolutions. But before we get started, I want to go over a few housekeeping items for today's webinar. Please make sure you've dialed in using the phone number provided in your communication email, or you're able to hear us via your PC speakers. We are recording today's webinar, and we'll make the recording available to you as soon as possible. So watch your inbox for a message containing a link to it. You'll be in listen-only mode for this webinar, but we will reserve some time after Sean's presentation for a question and answer session. You can submit your questions at any time through the questions box on the GoToWebinar control panel. And if we aren't able to get to your question today, don't worry, because we'll forward it on to Sean and the rest of the team at VinSolutions so they can respond back to you directly via email. Lastly, if you have any difficulty during the webinar, please click on the hand icon on the control panel and a member of our team will get to you as quickly as possible. So today's dealers know a customer for life is better than a customer for a day. But there's a difference between wanting repeat customers and knowing how to get them. So let's learn more about how to get ready to catch and keep your customers with Sean Stapleton. Sean, the webinar floor is now yours.
Thank you very, very much, Nick, and thank you for everybody for taking the time to join me today. Hopefully everybody can see the screen. And everybody, can you see that? Excellent.
Yes, we're good to go now, Sean.
Perfect. Again, thanks again. I'm really humbled and proud to have this opportunity to present the Catch and Keep customer strategy and why it's so important. So this is a combination of all the things I've seen, watched, and learned from many of you in this industry, maybe many of you on the call today. So I want to thank you. I'm really hoping that, and I wanted to do something that was super easy to do, powerful in its results, proven by data, and just logical. And what we found was catch and keep. So I've always looked at the world a little different than the rest, I guess. When I thought about what I could provide today and talk about it, I thought about catch and keep. And these are the insights we're going to talk about, the pillars, and what it takes to be successful. I guess the first question, I would ask and talk about is, why should you pay attention today? Why is this important? Well, the main reason is because today's customer is changing faster than ever before. Today's modern customer requires different tactics to both catch and keep, right? So those are the things that we're going to talk about. But let me start with the basic principle of catch and keep. The most basic principle of catch and keep is every time you look to engage, communicate, market, or talk to a prospect or a customer, ask yourself something first. Are you trying to catch or keep them? And what things would you do differently if you're trying to catch them versus keep them? Look, we all realize Google calls it the zero moment of truth. Once the zero moment of truth has occurred, your customers have decided to do business with you. From that moment forward, you should treat them differently. You should look at them differently. You should manage and communicate with them differently. Hopefully that's pretty fair. So because of today's customers changing and modern customers changing so much, everything needs to change. You must change your strategy, your plans, your marketing, and your communications. Heck, even your systems need to change. Why? Because they expect to be treated differently today. There are different expectations. It's more competitive. It's more cutthroat. And I think things are going to change faster than ever before. So let's talk about some of those things that have changed pretty dramatically. Well, number one, today's modern customer spends over 11 hours shopping online before they decide to come to your dealership, before they may even decide to send an email or to do any form of communication that you can really see. So Start to think about your situation and what that means to you. How do you rate online? How do you look online? What's your web appeal? Not curb appeal. What's your web appeal? Let's make sure it's easy to be found. Let's make sure that when they get there, it's easy to understand how to then make the next step, either to contact them, to click a link to be helped, to set up a service appointment, those types of things. I like to say one thing. Remember, if it takes more than 3 clicks to accomplish anything on your website, you're probably losing some customers. I know that my ADD would kick in and it would start to become more and more difficult. But remember the most important thing about online shopping. If they can't find you, they can't buy from you. Fair? So make sure you're constantly looking at this and reviewing this. We'll get back to this important fact here in a second. What else is changing? 35% increase in mobile just recently. Okay? What does this mean? Well, for the first time in my life in automotive, in many markets, we're seeing mobile device leads exceeding normal leads. In other words, the mobile device is the device that your customers, your prospects, it's their preferred method of communication. Well, if you're seeing this large a spike, hopefully everybody on this call has already got a mobile website, already has things optimized for mobile, right? But think about other things that you might not thought about. Are your follow-up scripts and processes, are they optimized for mobile? Do they give you an awesome mobile experience, or is it just okay? With this much change and this much opportunity, I can personally tell you there's a lot of market share up for grabs. And the people that are going to migrate to the type of customers and the changes you're seeing faster are going to create a significant competitive advantage for themselves. Look, I can personally tell you, I probably eat at the restaurant down the road from my house more often than I should because I got an awesome, easy-to-use mobile app. So what that means is it's easy for me to communicate, review, browse, shop, and buy. And that's changed just because they made it easy for my mobile experience to exceed other people's. So make sure your mobile experience is awesome. I don't think any of us believe that the mobile utilization is going to slow down. It's just the opposite. We all believe it's going to speed up. So number one takeaway on here is make sure you got an awesome mobile usable experience. Make sure that the email templates go out with clickable links. You know, many of us are probably driving down the road on their cell phones. Please, I'm not advocating that, but if you are, make sure they're clicking on these links. Make sure it's easy to get to quickly. 67% of your customers and prospects are going to use some sort of review, some sort of evaluation to understand, should I do business with this dealership or should I just move on to the next ones? Do any of my current friends endorse them? What do the reviews say about them? Is there anything relevant to me, my needs, my shopping habits? Heck, let me ask the people on the phone, how many of you have a reputation management plan in place today? Are you using it? Do you check it? What do your online reviews say about you? If it's really negative, you got to focus on it because you might not be able to track very easily the number of customers and prospects that are reading a review, finding something negatively, and choose to just click the deadliest button on the internet, the back button, and just move on. Remember, we believe the road to the sale has changed forever. What do I mean by that? Well, as recent as 5 years ago, most consumers visited between 4 and 5 retail facilities before they made their purchase. Today, that number is 1.4. What does that mean? That means the road to the sale has moved to the cloud. That means that your digital showroom is more important than ever, right? That means that you're going to limit too much opportunity unless you can bring those 1.4% of people, 1.4 shopping people, 1.4 showroom visits are yours. If you're not getting that, you're going to create a huge limitation. So review site information is critical. The road to the sale is in the cloud. Make sure that the process of the road to the sale, and one of them is reviewing your sites and reputation management, is something you're focused on. because I can promise you the next generation, the earlier, younger people, they're finding reviews and site information even more critical than some of us older people. Now, don't get me wrong. Dealers aren't just going to go out of business if they don't evolve with this approach. But I can tell you one thing. With this amount of change in the industry, some are not going to make it. Some are not going to change as fast as the industry. Some are going to struggle more than others. In the end, customers will find dealers that support the way they want to do business, not the way the dealers are forcing customers to do business. The dealerships that find and support a modern customer's needs, wants, and desires to do business are going to see tremendous opportunity. Again, there's a lot of market share up for grabs right now. One thing is constant in automotive is change. Now, I've always lived my life to embrace change. Some people fear change. What I'm asking you to think about right now for a second is, with this much opportunity and this much change out there, are you giving yourself an opportunity to gain market share or lose market share? And what I say to you is, are you serving your customers the way they want to be served? If not, they're going to find someone to serve them the way they want to be served and move away from you. I'll give you a great example of that. Text messaging. Hopefully many of us have embraced text messaging. It's just too large a percentage of customers that are now using that preferred method of communication. If you're not supporting that form of communication, you're just crossing off that percentage of customers that think text messaging is efficient, effective, and is now their preferred method of communications. So are dealers going to extinct if they don't evolve and change? Not overnight, but look, let's be honest. The change is here. Customers are in control. They're more powerful than ever before. They're more connected. They're more vocal. They've never been stronger. So please, listen to your customers, watch what's going on, pay attention, and make the changes you need to give yourself the competitive advantage. So where's the love? What do I mean by this? Okay? Have you ever heard the expression, the new car smell fades fast? What that really means to me is the customer engagement, the excitement, the relationship, the love. Just like any relationship, you got to work at it to keep it strong. Well, unfortunately, many dealers focus 75, 90, 95% of their marketing budget on what? Conquest. When we all know at the zero moment of truth, the conquest must have done its job. But what are you doing to ensure the customer relationship for the long term? What are you doing to make sure you're sustaining and maintaining a relationship to make sure that you're incurring the most percentage of wallet share possible? Where are you spending your money today? On conquest or retention or both? We all know what the NAD stats are towards a repeat customer. Who's most likely to spend more money in your car dealership for service? A new customer or repeat customer? Who's most likely to buy another car? Somebody servicing you today or not servicing? I could go on and on. But basically what I want to make sure is, where's the love? Where's the love from the day of purchase moving forward? And we'll come back to this in a second when we talk about the pillars, the 4 pillars of catch and keep. Many of the other people have to understand that after the engagement purchase, the first purchase to next purchase, is probably one of the areas that many of the dealerships today are struggling with. But like we just talked about, you don't have to. You don't have to allow that after purchase to fade. And that brings us to catch and keep. There are 4 primary pillars to catch and keep. Number 1 pillar is know your customer. The next pillar is right message, right time, right channel. I realize many of you heard this before, but today it's more important than ever before that you understand what those things mean, and I'll explain why. The 3rd pillar is committing to the life cycle, and the 4th pillar is build a technology foundation. I don't believe in today's environment with all the new customer changes rules, regulations, limitations, etc., that it's possible to stay competitive in an ultra-fast changing environment without a fantastic technology foundation. And I'm willing to discuss that in a second. So let's move to the next one. Know your customer, the first pillar. Probably the pillar that I think is the easiest points to agree on. Know your customer. Basically, the better you know your customer, the better you can serve them. Knowing your customer is required more than ever before. It's not an option. Just think of all the things that happens to you personally when you get something that's not relevant to you, when they haven't taken the time to know your customer. How does it make you feel? Does it make you feel that you're really an important customer? Or does it make you feel that it's distant, right? I feel that knowing the customer is one of the easiest ways to get a competitive advantage in the market today. No, but I mean really knowing your customer, taking the time to ask them questions, gather feedback. But please understand one thing about know your customer. If you talk to your customer, if you ask them questions, they expect a personalized experience. They expect that you're going to take that customer information and change how you communicate. Heck, maybe it's just as simple as the preferred method of communication. If you know anything about me, my preferred method of communication is text messaging. So if you know that you're trying to reach me, why would you send me an email? Why would you leave me a call on my home number? I've never even been home. Heck, I don't even know my home number, to be honest with you. So let me give you an illustration of what I'm talking about. In front of you, two Kim Smiths, right? One on the left is a beautiful older woman, and one on the right is a beautiful younger woman. Now let me ask you something. What market share are you going after? Which market share are you trying to attract? Which one's most likely to buy your brand you're selling today? The Kim Smith on the left or the right? Do you think both Kim Smiths play the same sports? Do both Kim Smiths watch the same TV shows? Do they go to the same websites? Do they search the internet the same way? Do both Kim Smiths use the same form of communication? Do they both have the same transportation needs? Do they both drive the same number of miles each year? Do they both use social? Hey, which Kim Smith's most likely to be a Twitter fan? Whoa, be careful. Don't judge a book by a cover, because things are changing really quick. Really, my point is, no two customers are the same. Even though it might be very easy for you to segment both of these Kim Smiths in the same category, you will realize quickly that your results will continue to go down if you do that. Remember, customers today have more choices, are more powerful than ever before, are more connected, and they have a stronger voice than ever before. You must take the time to understand who your target audience is and why. And you must take the time to understand, to segment the messaging, to really understand how to reach the customer you want. Personalize it. Personalize the experience and understand which type of Kim Smith are you really looking to go after. So that's the first point that I'd like to point out here. Secondly, we've all talked about know your customer, and some of the most basic segmentation things we've known for years are gender, ethnicity, income. Those are just scratching the surface. Those are some of the most basic ones. What do they qualify for? What level of income are they at, etc. But the secret to this is to really use your data to know your customers so you can help yourself help them better. So dig in deeper. Go further with segmentation to know your customers. Really? What about buying frequency, service history, needs and wants? What about equity position? These are all additional level of attributions that you really must know about your customer today. You really need to know your customers better than the next person down the road. Heck, how many people of us are equity mining every car that's coming in for service every day? We know it works. We know then from an equity position the right kind of offer that they qualify for that works for us. We all understand they qualify for a pull ahead. The worst thing you can do, and we'll talk about it later, is not knowing this stuff and creating some mistargeting. communication style, family situation, behavioral analysis. These are all the next generation of knowing your customer and understanding how to communicate to them. You realize one of the coolest things about the internet is that it's almost 100% trackable. Do you realize soon that the major competitive difference in advertising may simply be this? The amount of data you collect and use, and the better you know your customer, the better you can market to them. Heck, marketing's gotten so good and sophisticated. The only difference between a good campaign and a bad campaign might be the data that you actually use to do the analysis, right? This allows you to tailor the message to be more relevant to their needs. So remember, gender, income, miles per year they drive, that's not enough anymore. That's just scratching the surface. So I'll end with this on the first pillar. Do you really know your customer? And if you really know your customer, you're going to know how to keep them. In fact, by doing this really well and understanding things beyond gender, ethnicity, income level, you can create real engagement. And real engagement can only happen with good forms of communication that are regularly put together in an informed, in a good process. In other words, are you keeping your customers close to you? Are they your brand ambassadors? Please understand that the data you gather is the key to knowing your customer and what their needs and expectations really are. So once you've got that at a customer level, one of the other opportunities is to make sure that every department has available data to the customer. In other words, is your sales department sharing it with service and parts and finance and marketing and accounting? Heck, how many of us has received a direct mail piece for a sales offer, right, for a brand new car, and you just bought a car from them 6 weeks ago, 6 days ago, heck, maybe even 6 hours ago? How about even worse? How many of us get a trade-in opportunity or an offer from the dealer that you traded that car into 6 months ago? I would love to say it's not happening, but I get it in my mailbox all the time. I'm seeing this happening all the time. What means that every department is not in sync. It's not a synergistic fashion. Remember, just keeping sales to know your customers and prospects is not enough anymore. Maybe the dissatisfaction would occur in service, in parts, in financing, or even worse, making a finance offer to a customer. When they go to redeem it, they don't qualify for it. I'll give you an example of that in a second. So now the next pillar is the right message, the right time, and the right channel. That's pillar 2. And again, I realize many of you heard this before, but today it's even more important than ever to really make this a guiding principle, right? Instead of just discussing the benefits of this, we've all done that, let's try a different angle today. Let's start discussing about what happens if you do it wrong, if you use the wrong message at the wrong time, at the wrong channel. Let me show you what I mean. Mistargeting. Mistargeting can kill the love faster than almost anything you can imagine, right? Imagine this, 10% of your customers and prospects will never visit your website again if you give them a message that's not relevant. Heck, I'll give you a great example. I love to drive a King Ranch 350 Super Duty pickup. It just fits my lifestyle, the way my family and I kind of live. You know what's funny is about every 6 months I get an oil change offer in the mail for $19.95. And every time I pick up the phone and call the dealership to redeem that coupon, what do you think I find out? That the coupon they mailed me for an oil change, you can't use it on a diesel. Heck, I'd love to pay $19.95. An average diesel oil change in my market is about $129 to $150, right? So you can imagine how I was excited I was to get a $19.95 oil change offer in the mail from my current dealer that I'm servicing with. You can also imagine how disappointed I was to find out that I don't qualify to redeem that offer. Heck, if I didn't qualify for it, why did they send it to me in the first place? 29% of the people are less likely to buy a product from you again, right? So see these statistics? These hurt. How about 45% of the people are going to label you a spammer. That's a 4-letter word, right? That's a 4-letter word, spam, okay? 54% are going to do something very, very painful. They're going to unsubscribe, which means they're basically going to put themselves back in the pool. They no longer see you as a relevant data source. They no longer see you as valuable to talk to. They say, heck, you're a spammer. I'm going to put you in the same category as everybody else. That basically means the relationship is dead. It's over. 67% won't even want to look at your messages anymore. They'll automatically delete your communications. But here's the real stat. 94% of your customers and prospects will take one or more of these actions. Look how little of the heart is left. Look how damaging these actions can actually be to your business, your opportunity, your relationship. Now, the good news is with real-time course corrections, you can make this a change. The metrics are out there. Let me give you an example of what happened to me and my family specifically. Let me give you a retargeting or mistargeting story. Do you guys remember probably about 3-4 years ago, maybe 5 years ago, that Cadillac commercial where that very attractive redheaded lady from Grey's Anatomy, I believe, had that commercial that says, you know, when you get in your car and turn it on, does it turn you on? Bam! That hit my wife right between the ear, right between the eyes. Just perfect. She had to have a Cadillac Escalade. That message resonated with her beautifully, right? Well, here's how it went down. This was about 72 hours before Christmas Day, and my beautiful wife turned to me and says, I really would love a new car for Christmas, and if we could do that, I'd love to get an Escalade. The marketing worked perfectly. So what did I do? I picked up the phone, I called my buddies at the Cadillac dealership, I worked every angle I could. We changed every rule, we did everything. I had the big red bow, everything. But I gave them my information. I gave them all my stuff. I laid it all out. I talked to them. I brought the car home. Everything was perfect. But guess what they did wrong? They put my name on all the paperwork. They put me as the primary driver. Who do you think all the welcome packets went to? Who do you think all the CSI letters went to? Who do you think the customer service people tried to call and reach? Me or her? Me. When she'd answer the phone and say, hi, is this the Cadillac dealership? Yeah, I'm calling for Sean Stapleton. They say, well, I'm Amy, and I'm the one that drives the car. Can I help you? Well, sure. They explained what was going on. It was great. The next letter came in the mail, and the exact same thing. It was addressed to Sean Stapleton. There was a recall in the vehicle. They called for me. After a service appointment, they'd call and ask for me and ask my experience. Was it great? I never brought it in. I never drove the car. What happened was that new car smell faded fast. She really started to get discouraged. She really started to think, do they really care about me? Do they really want my business? Well, I'll tell you what happened. Very quickly after that, my beautiful wife decided that she no longer felt that the Cadillac dealership was serving her needs. And she quickly, as soon as she could, she traded that vehicle in because the customer experience was just so poor. In other words, the mistargeting not only hurt their opportunity to sell me and my family another Cadillac, that mistargeting hurt so bad that she's telling everybody, okay? So think about how bad mistargeting can be. But look, with the real-time metrics, they had an opportunity to do a course correction. The problem is they missed it. They got her on the phone. She explained what was going on, but they didn't update the systems accordingly to stop the mistargeting. People are only going to take mistargeting so long before they say, heck, I'll try something else. So let's talk about some success stories, right? It's very easy for us to all see and understand success stories when you stop treating all customers the same, when you stop and understand what they're really interested in, how they're different, what they really want, how do they want to be supported, how do they feel the love, are they respected, are they trusted, are they listened to, right? That's how you build a success story. When I started back in the car business, data segmentation was lick, stick, and mail. Yeah, I've been in the car business a long time. I'm old, right? But understand a couple things. It's really difficult to get anybody in the car business back then to do 3 things in a row the same way, the same time, the same exact process. So what I'm telling you is, if you want to be successful in today's car business, stop thinking about the car business as the car business and start thinking about the car business as the people business. Think about it as, what do you need to drive and nurture a relationship? All good relationships need to be nurtured and managed, which means your communication styles have to be relevant to them, the messages have to be relevant to them, the mileage indicators have to be relevant to them. All of those things are factored in. If you're not doing those things correctly, you're going to get in trouble, okay? It's very sad to me when car dealers today prepare to spend $60, $70, $80, $100, $150,000 on a marketing campaign, and they're not taking the time to prepare for success. What do I mean by that? What I mean by that is, what are you doing to ensure that your campaign strategy and messaging is going to make sense? Is it one message to everybody? Because I don't believe we find that to be relevant. Let me give you an example. Many dealers spend more time preparing for a successful fishing trip than they do a marketing campaign. If you're going to have a successful fishing trip, you go down to your local bait shop and you ask them, what are the fish biting on today? What type of temperature are they biting in? What depth are they at? What time of the day should I be fishing for that elusive walleye, if you will, right? What they're doing is preparing for success. They're segmenting. They're understanding what data points are working today, right? So to have a success story, you need to look and think about my walleye example. Hopefully, many of you are not doing that. Hopefully, you're preparing the same way for a marketing campaign as you would a good fishing trip. You're preparing using your data, you're segmenting it out, you're understanding what it takes to catch a walleye, what type, what message, when, and why it's relevant. Because at the end of the day, the competition is getting greater, and ultimately, to be successful, you really need to know your customer. The better you know your customer, the better you can relate. The better you can relate, the better marketing you'll have, the better conversion you'll have, the more profitability you'll see, the longer the relationships will last. And we all know the value of a long-term relationship, right? Customers want to feel special. They want to know you care. They want a personalized, relevant, timely message. That's how you build a success story in today's modern environment. The next piece, or the next pillar I'd like to talk about, is commit to the life cycle. So this is pretty easy with a couple questions. Again, what type of customer is the most valuable customer? Or what type of customer, if you were going to take it up, would you want? A new customer that's never been there, or an existing customer? What type of customer is most likely to use a service department, buy an F&I product, refer a friend? Which type of customer is most likely to be an advocate for you? A customer that's never been there before, an existing customer. That's easy to understand. But now let's stop and ask some questions that might be hard to understand. What percentage of your marketing budget is spent on attracting only new opportunities, new leads, and new prospects? And what percentage of your marketing budget are you spending on managing, retaining, cultivating, developing the love, and showing them you care? Because unfortunately, many dealerships today are too focused on conquest only, right? So are you treating your best customers like their competition's #1 target? If not, why not? I see too many dealers that are only focused on catch and not keep. Remember, nurturing after the sale is your best protection to maintaining the relationship. Brand loyalty is not dead. Maybe it's your approach, your effort to the relationship that needs to be looked at or reviewed. How often can you honestly say that you're nurturing the relationship, that you're reaching out to the customer and letting them know you care? When's the last time you sent a communication to your customer that wasn't asking for them to buy something from you. Trust me, if when you're looking at your marketing campaigns, it feels like you're asking too much, you probably are. If you're not showing them and explaining to them you care and love about them, it shouldn't be a surprise to you when you pick up the phone and get a hold of them that they bought or they're servicing somewhere else. You're not showing them that you're committed to the life cycle. Heck, there are very few companies in the world that can only live on new customers. Nurturing after the sale is your best protection. This is easy to understand because all of us are being bombarded by service offers, sales offers, finance offers all the time. If you're listening to your customer, if you know how to communicate to them, you know the right channels, you know the right messages, and all your profit departments are in a synergistic fashion, you're going to avoid having bad experiences. And realize that 1 in 4 will leave on a single bad negative experience. We can't afford to have that. Hey, how many of us have received an offer or a discount offer to buy a car within days or even a week of buying a car? I, about 6 months ago, bought a brand new F-150. If you were to call me up right now and send me an offer for $10,000 off, I'd be bummed out because it's too late. I've already made my decision. I've already experienced my zero moment of truth. And if it came from the dealer I bought from, I would really question, how do I look to the dealer? How are they managing my relationship? How are they managing my data? Do they really know what I'm in for, what I need, or are they only focused on what their needs are? Remember, 1 in 4 will leave on a single negative experience. Don't give them an opportunity to leave. Again, it's simple, it's easy, but it must be synergistic. And it starts with understanding the pillars of catch and keep. The next pillar is one of my absolute favorites. It's something I've been involved in personally, really daily for over the last 8 years. It's build a technology foundation. Yes, I'm addicted to the auto industry. I love the auto industry. I love how fast it's running, and I love all the new opportunities. But also, there's a new level of responsibility coming to the industry. Okay? There's a new level of transparency that the customers are expecting. There's a new amount of laws and rules and regulations of communicating to a customer. I personally believe that you can't be successful long-term without a strong, usable, actionable technology foundation. Heck, I can prove it to you right now on the phone. Stop and think about the last 20 or 30 customers you sold a car to. How much data can you really remember about them? Can you remember their first name? Can you remember their last name? Can you remember how they bought the car? Did they purchase or lease it? Did they put a down payment down? What incentives did you use to get the deal done? What type of things can't you use? Which one of them would be an advocate if you called them up right now and said, I need a testimonial? Do you know which ones would give you that right away? How many of them would retweet a message for you? How many of them would share one of your experiences on Facebook? With a good technology foundation, those questions would be easy to understand. With the new types of legislation out there, like do not call lists, and things like that, I don't believe that you can make it without a fantastic technology foundation. So let's talk about the amount of change we're seeing in the auto industry today. Heck, think about just the last 5 years, even 3. Have we seen customer buying behaviors change? And what do we think is going to happen? I know we've seen a lot of change. I've personally seen more change in the last 3 to 5 years than probably the last 10. And what do we expect to happen? We expect this percentage of change in buyer behavior to do what? Continue to go up, continue to accelerate, continue to become even more aggressive. The answer is the change of buyer's behavior is faster than ever before and is going to continue to change faster and faster, right? So when I see this much change, I see it as opportunity. We've already talked about this. So think about what are you doing right now to capitalize on this opportunity. When you see this much buyer behavior change, that means the market share is up for grabs. I hear a lot of my dealers' friends say to me today, Sean, brand loyalty is dead. People will drive 250 miles to save $10. I don't believe that to be true. What I believe to be true is you're clearly not having a relative message with them. It's not resonating. They're not seeing you as a trusted advocate. They're willing to change for $10 because you don't have a good relationship. You're not managing the relationship after the sale correctly. You're not maintaining the opportunity to earn the next percentage of wallet share. And that's something that I think is very, very dangerous, because I don't believe that this change acceleration is going to decrease. I think data access and transparency is going to become more important. I think that the customers of today and prospects of today know more about pricing than ever before. They have more access to data than ever before. They have more ability to understand more than ever before, and they're socially connected. So if you're doing these wrong, they have a stronger voice. They also have the opportunity to reach out to their customers, their friends, their family members, and ask for input about you. So what do I mean by this? As the percentage of change of buyer behavior continues to accelerate, you need to make sure you're in a position to capitalize on this, because the dealerships that are using a technology foundation to know your customer, understand how to communicate the right channel, the right time, the right message, that are committed to the life cycle, are going to see a higher percentage of opportunity for themselves. So let's talk about what I mean by a technology foundation. 10 years ago, I might have said to you the most valuable product that you have today in your dealership is the DMS. Today, I will argue with anybody, the most valuable technology you have in your store is a CRM. Why? The CRM includes prospects as well as customers, continues to contain things like preferred method of communication, understands click paths, understands the digital footprint, helps you understand how to maintain and maximize the relationship, helps you understand what their customers' needs are and why. It lets you market your messages to their needs and their wants. It's a tailored, personalized experience, and that's the differentiator today. It allows you to do marketing campaign tools that are specific and segmented to their specific needs. It allows you to manage inventory management different than ever before, whether it's pricing, buying, stocking, or syndicating. Before I get into that car, I should know and I should understand what I should expect to get out of it. You should have great databases of customer data, not just of what they bought or what they didn't buy, but also how many pencils do they have in the F&I? Do they have F&I products that are refundable? Do they have the ability to do things differently? Do they qualify for pull-aheads? Websites today are different. Websites are a way of tracking behavior. Does your website notify you when your customer or prospect's on the website? Would you like it to? Shouldn't it? Wouldn't that be a tremendous competitive advantage if you were notified on your smartphone every time one of your existing customers went back to your website? How about behavioral analysis? I believe the future of sales processes will be predicated off the digital footprint. What do I mean by that? I believe that many customers today are leaving tons of clues on how to sell, support, and manage the relationship via their digital footprints. What are you doing to fine-tune and harvest this data so you can customize the sales processes unique for each of the customers? I'll give you an example. If I sent one of my customers an email for a proposal for a new F-150, and let's say it's a brand new black F-150, let's say it's about $45,000, and I see that customer opens that email, and the first thing he or she does is go directly back to my website and clicks on certified pre-owned white vehicles, and the price range is $23,000 to $25,000. Am I following up on the wrong vehicle? Is it possible that my customers' needs and wants have changed? Does it mean maybe they don't quite qualify for the first proposal? I'm doing my job following up the best I can on that $48,000 to $50,000 pickup truck to just find out a week later they bought a certified pre-owned white vehicle for $24,000. Those data points, that example I'm giving you is real. It happens every day. And the technology today exists to be able to harvest, understand, retain, and use that digital behavior. And last but not least, mobile. Mobile is exploding. Mobile is the future. It's here today. It's here now. If you're not in the mobile game, if you're not optimized for mobile, you're in trouble. Because too many of our customers are really moving to that side of the world. Too many of our customers are using multiple devices in the shopping experience. So if you're not optimized for the customer to respond and open the email on an iPad, or go ahead and set up a service appointment for their mobile device, they might just go to the next dealer that is, because it's easy for your customers to buy from them. So, really, to know your customers and prospects today, you must execute a customer strategy that includes both catch and keep. Add the 4 pillars up, and now you have a new way to see your customers, understand their needs, understand how to market to them, realize where the profitability is in the life cycle, and ultimately use the technology foundation to put everything together, right? You know, there is no choice, or there is. Many times you've heard in life, you know, there's no choice. You either got to choose love or money. Well, let me tell you, this is not one of those times. With the catch and keep strategy and spreading the love and understanding this, you can have both. You get to have the love, develop the relationship, and then create more profitability for yourself. Today in business, a successful business doing the right things, the byproduct of the success is profitability. The byproduct of the success is a strong relationship. In today's ultra-competitive world with today's modern customer, a success story is you. You could be the success story, but you need to understand how to communicate to your customer. In other words, you need to know your customer. You need to know the right message, the right time, the right channel. It's easy to see why this is more important than ever before. You must be committed to the life cycle, because life cycles are changing faster than ever before. And you have to understand that without a good technology foundation, I don't know if it's possible to really stay in the game, to support your customer, to understand the rules and regulations, to avoid your customers from ending in opt-outs, from spamming their way out, or from getting on a list where you don't have the right to communicate to them anymore. Right? So doing these things together, you will be the success story, and money will come your way. Well, what I like to say is at VinSolutions, we like to make every connection count. You know, we do that by building dealership software that connects you to what really matters to you most, your customers, right? Remember, you're not in the car business, you're in the people business. We just happen to sell cars, service cars, sell F&I products, etc. So a good strategic approach today, an example of that might be something like VinConnect CRM, where everything is synergistically flowing together to give you an overall encompassing experience. It's allowing you to understand your customers better, from websites to marketing to desking to service, inventory management to market pricing to mobile. All of those things come together. It's that synergistic. It's that approach that gives you a significant competitive advantage. Well, I hope you enjoyed our time today, and I'd love to go live to questions now and ask anything you want about the catch and keep strategy. Nick, can you open up the floor for me?
Absolutely, Sean. An excellent presentation, and just a reminder that we are recording today's session, and we'll make that a link to the recording available to you as soon as possible. So please watch your inbox for a link to that recording. And if you have any questions for Sean Stapleton from VinSolutions, please use the questions box that's in the control panel on your screen. And perhaps a way to get things started, Sean, is maybe what are a couple of tips or best strategies for dealers who perhaps maybe are starting from scratch of this type of catch and keep program. Maybe a couple tips for those who are starting from a baseline, or maybe also a couple of tips for stores who are looking to improve so they don't end up like that Cadillac store that you and your family encountered. So maybe two variations, some pieces of advice for stores that are starting from scratch, and a couple of pieces of how to get started for those who are looking to improve what they already have.
Great question. The first thing that many dealers make a mistake, and I see, is that they think when they put in a new technology, it's set and forget. How often are you going back and reviewing your current sales process to make sure they're relevant and up to date? How often are we going back and testing this? Go home today and try to buy a car from yourself and see what it's like to experience it on the other side of the desk, if you will. If the processes are kludgy, if they're difficult, if they're too time-consuming, if they're too restrictive, if some of your fill-out forms require you to fill out 12 or 15 things before you can submit a lead, look, it's a real high probability that too many of your people are just abandoning it and moving on, right? Go look at your marketing strategy. Go look at who a great target customer is. Go look at some of your success stories. How did they find you? What do they do to get there? How are you maintaining the relationship? Are you segmenting your messages appropriately? Let me give you an example. In your CRM right now, if I came in and took a test drive versus someone that didn't, would I get the same follow-up process? Would I get the same follow-up process from you right now if I bought 3 cars from you versus if I've never bought from you? If the answer is yes, you got some work to do. But I'm proud to tell you, you're asking the right questions. What about your data management strategies? What are you doing to maintain the data hygiene that you have? So when you do use that data, you understand the best email to use, the best phone number to reach somebody at, or you understand what the preferred method of communication really is for that customer. Those are examples of things that will go a long, long way for your success. Are you looking at your marketing dollars you're spending? Are you spending any of your marketing dollars on retention? And if the answer is no, why not? We already know the percentage of customers and the value they are when they come back and repeat business. So why aren't you focusing on them as well? What do you think? Got another question for me, Nick?
Absolutely. Another kind of nuts and bolts question here, Sean, about VinSolutions itself. A question has come in whether you're active in the European markets, and if not, when the company might venture across the pond, so to speak.
Today we are doing business in North America, and that includes Canada. We do have future plans to head across the pond, if you will. Right now there's a lot of market share in the United States. We'd still like to focus on the United States as our primary market. You know, the opportunity to be here and help our dealers with the ever-changing technology, it's pretty darn opportunistic right now for our dealers and our dealer customers. So today we're going to stay in North America and Canada, and we're going to continue to work with our existing customers as well as get more. What our big goal is to take our current customers and make them even more efficient and more successful, get a higher utilization of the products they're buying from us today, because ultimately a higher utilization will result in a better ROI for them and us and their customers.
Very good, Sean. More questions have come in, and if you have a question here for Sean Stapleton of VinSolutions, please use the questions box in the control panel. Another query has come in that you referenced social media as part of the strategy to catch and keep. What have been some of your best practices, or how would you suggest a dealership manages their own social media presence? What is some advice that you have in that regard?
Well, it's funny. Everyone calls it social media. I like to just call it media. It's just another form of segmentation, right? Social media is exploding faster than anything I've ever seen in my life. It's one of the most exciting times to be alive. Social media is given everybody a voice. It's given everybody opportunity to weigh in on what's going on. It's increased the value of transparency. I think social media is one of the most critical things to focus on. It's your messaging, it's your branding. But understand about social media, if you're doing it wrong, if you're not sincere, if you're not committed to it, be careful, because people can see right through it. Good social media should be relevant, should be timely, and should be accurate. It doesn't always have to revolve around buying, selling, or servicing a car. Social media can be just as good about goodwill things. How many times has a car dealer gone out and sponsored the Little League team in their own community and not told anybody about it? How many times have you taken a picture of the new car delivery and gone ahead and stuck that out on someone else's Facebook? So if I came in and bought a brand new F-150 and my dealer took a picture of me or a video of me when I'm really happy and picking up that new car smell, I'd be happy to share that picture with my friends and family. I'm pretty proud of that car. Well, guess what that does? That gives everybody in my downstream that's relevant to me, that I have clout with them, it gives you the opportunity to expose your brand. It's basically saying, Sean Stapleton found ABC Ford so relevant, so timely, and so good that I choose to spend my money with them. And hopefully that would resonate to, if Sean felt they're good enough, then I should give them a chance as well. The flip side on social media is, if people are complaining or there's an issue, please respond, because ignoring social media is just as dangerous as not doing it correctly.
Excellent recommendation, Sean. Thank you so much. Closing moments here with Sean Stapleton of VinSolutions. We're talking about how to catch and keep those valuable customers, and had some great illustrations during your presentation, Sean. For example, referencing the two Kim Smiths as same name, but potentially two very different customers. Just how difficult is it for stores to stay on task, so to speak, to not fall into bad habits or whatever the case may be? Just how crucial and how vital is it to, once the processes are in place, to stick with them?
Well, at the end of the day today, the way I would say it is, today's business environment is changing quickly because the customer is changing quickly. It's becoming more competitive, not less competitive. Customers are looking at the products and services through different lenses today. The best way to understand it is to stay open and communicate and listen to your customers. It's amazing what your prospects and customers will tell you about what you're doing right, as well as what you could improve on. But not focusing on this massive amount of change is a mistake. The market share that you love and you're used to experiencing today is almost 100% up for grabs again. So it's an extremely opportunistic time to go in, review your processes, and make sure you're not treating everybody the same. Because one message to everybody is going to have a very, very low response rate. First, taking and segmenting your customers into understanding their needs, wants, life cycle, and wallet share, and being able to translate into that to relative, timely, and appropriate messages that match what their needs are. You'll see significantly better returns. You'll see significantly stronger relationships. You'll see many, many more repeat customers or harvest opportunities, and ultimately, it's just good business. At the end of the day, treating customers the way they want to be treated, or serving your customers the way they want to be served, is an excellent strategy. Because if you don't serve your customers the way they want to be served, they'll find somebody else to serve them that way.
Very good. Very well said, Sean. I guess here to close things out, how can dealers get in touch with you or VinSolutions if they want to get some more guidance or potentially tap VinSolutions products? What steps can they take next?
Well, the easiest is to just either go to our website and submit a lead, send me an email, send me a social media tweet, Facebook. If you can't find me at Sean Stapleton at VinSolutions by just typing it in the web, I did something wrong. You can always contact me as well at my cell number, which is 952-270-3200. And please understand, I'm here to help. Whether you're using our technology or not, I'd love to hear from you. I'd love to hear your opinion. I'd love to hear your success stories, because I believe this industry is full of fantastic people looking to make a big difference. I love this industry. I want to be part of it. I'd love to hear from you. So either go to VinSolutions.com, send me an email, Google me, tweet me, hit me with a social, Facebook, whatever makes sense, whatever is easiest for you. I look forward to hearing from each and every one of you, and I'd love to get your feedback on today's presentation.
Great job today, Sean. Thank you so much for sharing the guidance today, and those who have joined us, thank you so much for taking an interest in improving your dealership. So, Sean, thank you so much again.
Thank you, Nick, and thank you, everybody, for taking the time to listen to the conversation. Hopefully you found it timely and relative. Godspeed, my friends.
And thank you again for joining us. Have a great day.
Goodbye.